Hello there, everybody. So I think that might be the official theme song for Night Owling from now on. Because I've never had any kind of copyright problems with the soundtrack from Legend of Dinosaurs. And also, it just kind of fits the mood a little better, and it's less than a minute long, so it's kind of a perfect theme song. So this is an impromptu streaming, and I doubt there's going to be anybody in the audience with the exception of Jugless Juggler there. Hello there. The music is great, by the way. Thank you, Jugless Juggler. Now, I am going to be doing some artwork throughout the night as I'm talking with you. Unfortunately, I can't do a share screen, and my multitasking abilities are terrible. So if I miss any questions, you'll understand. But the reason I'm doing this live stream is because I was supposed to have an episode up, the first episode actually, of my new series, Inshoma Likes Giant Monsters. Unfortunately, some of the editing is going a little further, and I might have to end up just keeping it as simplistic as possible. Um, but as a consolation prize, hopefully I can get the episode done and have it air either early evening on Sunday or early evening Monday, but I will definitely not be going past Tuesday. I think from now on, if I actually have elaborate plans, I'll wait for the product to be finished first. But it's already like 70% there. I just got to do more for it. I'm also considering whether or not I should do like a funny opening for it, although I do have an excellent idea what that funny opening will be. They'll also kind of show the cheeky attitude behind the series. But what is in Shoma Likes Giant Monsters? Well, let me show you what the main title of Inshoma Likes Giant Monsters looks like, so you have an idea what it looks like. um, there you go. The idea behind this series is that I was kind of disenchanted and, if not disheartening, by the current state of the Godzilla fandom, as well as maybe tokusatsu in that regard, in the sense that it's way too much focus on Godzilla to, it's like we like Godzilla, but it's kind of similar to a situation like comic book superheroes or comic books in general. There is like a wide variety of really awesome comic book artists, a wide variety of different kind of comic book stories and series and characters you can get into. But if you go in a comic shop, everyone's pretty much going to be either obsessed with Batman or Joker, and that's how. And they will not give a rat's butt about anything else other than that, and will even berate you if you bring up things like the Rogues Gallery of Superman, or it's like, are there any Marvel heroes that are not connected to the major movies that we can talk about, and all that nonsense. And I'm starting to feel the same way towards the Godzilla fandom. It's like the whole, especially with Godzilla vs. Kong being delayed so often. But it's like there's a whole amazing world outside. What counts as a kaiju? It's like, well, first off, kaiju is just basically Japanese for strange beast, and pretty much encapsulates a wide variety of different creatures, not just Godzilla style big old radioactive dinosaur monsters. Dai kaiju should be the true usage word when we're describing Godzilla style monsters. Unfortunately, most young Americans, well, actually, Americans in general, have something against multiple syllables. So I guess kaiju sounds a lot better than dai kaiju. And not only that, but it's like I've been in like arguments that have just really kind of annoyed me. Like people who honestly think characters like King Kong, Jet Jaguar, and the Giant Condor doesn't count as giant monsters. Not true. They're Jet Jaguar is somewhat questionable because he's a giant robot superhero. But here's the thing: he's a giant robot superhero. Uh, Giant, as in the same size as Godzilla. Robot, in the sense that he's not human. He's of a fantastical sci-fi make. Superhero, in the sense that he's sentient. So if you're sentient, giant, and fantastical, and you're in a Godzilla movie, you pretty much count as a kaiju. King Kong, giant, um, kind of a mystic gorilla, but not realistic gorilla, the mystical take on a gorilla. Sort of like all the insane stories you hear about gorillas in the early turn of the century. and he's in a freaking Godzilla movie. And he's very sentient with his own personality. Giant condor, very unimpressive. Still a giant, fantastical bird that battled Godzilla. So if it's a giant monster that shows up in the Godzilla franchise, I think that instantly counts as a Dai Kaiju, if you will. But again, that's very limiting. And then not only that, but if you only focus on the Japanese centric stuff, you miss out on all the really cool giant monsters that have shown up in American films or British science fiction or Italian B movies. It's and even then, it's like people like to cherry pick. Like, it's okay to have Pacific Rim be considered true Daikaiju, even though it's more of a direct homage to the Japanese monster movies. But Gorgo, which is basically a direct answer to the whole Godzilla franchise, even with connections to Japan when you consider its history, completely gets ignored in that regard. So quite frankly, I was getting a little sick and tired. But again, I like giant monsters in general, and it's like there are like billions of videos about about bloody will Kong battle will Kong battle Godzilla on the I'm trying to think of something clever here. Something blah blah blah. There's like millions of clickbait videos and all that. And I understand if a character is more popular, you're going to see more videos of said characters. But it's like, with maybe the exception of Wikizilla and some of my fellow fans who actually inspired the series in Show Me Like Strap Monsters, there is really very little variety. It's like there was a good YouTube channel that tried to talk about Ultraman facts, and and despite all the really good videos they had, Ultraman Explained is the name of the channel, they were just barely scratching the surface when it came to the monsters of the franchise. And Ultraman has a wide variety of really cool monsters and all that. So, will Kong battle Godzilla on the moon? Chip chip cheerio, may I sweep your chimney? Probably not Jugless Juggler, even though Godzilla and Kong have probably ended up on the moon in some weird obscure media. Of course, Godzilla in the Marvel comics, and Kong, I think maybe in like one of his lesser known Mexican comic books, even though those are kind of iffy on it, whether or not they're official or it's like, public domain King Kong thing. But yeah, where was I before? Oh yeah, it's like there's like a wide variety of wonderful giant monsters to talk about. The obscure and the lesser known, and unfortunately, nobody wants to talk about it. Especially something as sad as, when you really think about it, I don't know if it was my friend Matt of Monstrosities or if it was somebody else. Kevin Dorendorf, Kevin Dorendorf on the Kaiju Transmissions. Ultraman monsters are amazing. I fully agree. Hold on. I recently discovered a really awesome podcast that I've been listening to a lot lately. Oh, yes. The Kaiju Transmissions podcast. The host of that, I'm going to share the link, perhaps from Podbean, which is like the easiest to listen to without having to download any apps or anything. Kaiju Transmissions, they brought up a really good point. I don't know if it was Kevin Dorendorf or one of the other hosts, but that Ultraman sits in an unfortunate middle ground where it's two tokusatsu superheroes for kaiju fans' tastes, and it's two kaiju giant monsters for tokusatsu fans' taste. And as you know, tokusatsu, in its real American terminology or translation, is that it encompasses all live-action special effects in Japanese entertainment. Unfortunately, most people like to assume it just really means Kamen Rider and maybe Super Sentai and nothing else. And it's sad too because I've seen people get in arguments about, Godzilla doesn't count as tokusatsu. That's like saying Dracula doesn't count as a horror movie because Dracula is not as scary as the Alien or the Predator. So some nonsense like that. And not only that, but there's like so many Power Ranger videos, and yet barely any talk about the villains from the series, minus maybe the occasional Watch Mojo list. So top 10 Power Ranger villains you remember from your childhood, that kind of nonsense. So I decided, what the hell? I'm going to take a bunch of my personal favorite obscurities or overlooked monsters from all the franchises, from all corners of fiction, and give each and every one of them episodes that will range roughly 12 to 15 minutes in length, maybe longer if I have a lot more to say about the characters. Now, where does this leave the kind of abandoned series, Review All Monsters? Well, as you know, I start Review All Monsters with my friend Jesse, but Jesse has much more important things to deal with. So Review All Monsters I don't think is ever going to happen. But um, in Shoma Likes Giant Monsters is sort of an excellent series I can do on my own. I can just focus on individual characters instead of having to, check out an entire movie. And there you go. And the first episode of In Shoma Likes Giant Monsters, I decided to kind of dedicate it to a character that that has a cult following amongst the Power Ranger community, and maybe people who grow up with both Zyuranger and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but you barely hear anyone talk about. Although, again, she has a cult following, and it is really cool that, she's been kind of brought back through various merchandising in recent years, especially for the Battle for the Grid, which I think is the name of that tabletop game. But you're probably seeing her on the screen right now, and that is Madame Woe. I'm only focusing on her American incarnation from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but yeah, she will be the subject of our first episode, and I won't talk too much about her tonight. Despite the fact that, yeah, the description says, Madame Woe wins the presidential election. Say what? So I do have some political thoughts tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going to try to be magnanimous or at least pleasant with them. But yeah, it's kind of a nice day today in the sense that, we're I don't know. I will try my best because there's a lot of viewers and friends of mine who are conservative minded, but they're nice people. They're not like the insane cultists. And yes, Jokeless Juggler, Madame Woe does look neat, and he retracted that. You said Madame Woe looked neat. You didn't say she looked like buffoon gorgeous, hot. Okay, there it goes again. Madame Woe looks neat. Yes, she does. So yeah, but she will be the main subject of our of the first episode of Shoma Likes Giant Monsters, and I picked her for various reasons. She was like she holds the distinction of being the first female monster on Power Rangers, unless you don't count somebody like Rita Repulsa herself, who does count as a giant monster because she's an alien witch who has gone giant size at least 3 times in the Power Ranger franchise. And also she, I don't know, I'll get in more detail when the time comes, but basically, yeah, there's a lot about in Shoma Likes Giant Monsters I'm excited about. And I already have the second episode and the third episode planned too. So, and that's basically it as far as that series goes. I will be taking paid commissions if anybody wants me to talk about particular monsters, or if you're getting bored of me rambling on about the amazements of the giant rabbits from Night of the Lepus. You want me to talk about like something else? It's like, review Anguirus. Okay, fine, pay me money. It's like $30. Boom, you get an episode. Or $25 if you want. I might even hold a raffle too, but that's something I'll have to set up on my Patreon. So yes, I do have a Patreon. Unfortunately, I'm kind of hesitant to advertise it, largely because, we're in the middle of an unfortunate financial and health crisis that I'm not going to say out loud because you know how YouTube likes to throw things under the bus. But for anybody who's listening to this in the future, or right now, even though it looks like it's just me and Jugless Juggler together, alone. This is my Patreon that's just showed up in the comments section. So yeah, it's like every little bit helps. But other than that, I know that we're all struggling, so don't worry about it. And then, of course, there is my DeviantArt page where you can where I do a lot of my art commissions through. So I will share the link to that too. Again, I am not very good at multitasking, so forgive me for the slow posting of links in the chat area. Here we go. Also, I don't know how long I'm going to be on tonight, so there was one plan I had though. Speaking of Madame Woe, sorry about that. I had a late night dinner. I'm burping a bit. There was one plan I did kind of want to do, where I would open my Netflix and we would watch the episode with Madame Woe in it from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But I think I might do that if I get a little, if I'm up for it a little later. Just something cool, especially if I don't know if you have Netflix Struggler, but you can join in there. Of course, there's all sorts of other websites you can probably find the episode on. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Okay, so, but yeah, there you go. That's the idea behind Shoma Likes Giant Monsters. But yeah, I decided that since I don't have the episode done now, I'll do this as a little side thing. And hopefully, maybe I can get a friend on board to join us, but for the most part, it's just going to be me rambling on. And I think that might be the main style for night owling with Raph and Shoma. By the way, night owling is a play on the term night owl, which isn't just a term for a nocturnal bird of prey, but also if, a night owl refers to people who stay up late and just enjoy the nighttime, especially between 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. And that's sometimes me, although I have been kind of sleeping regular hours lately. So again, I don't know how long I'm going to be up tonight. So I have Netflix. Okay, Juggless Juggler, if you're lucky, we'll watch the Manamo episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers together. Not as good as her Zyuranger Japanese original, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so this has been an God, 2020 has not been the best year for a multitude of reasons. And yes, I have some friends who tell me don't blame the year, but let's consider that a lot of terrible things have happened this year, and it's just the ramp up craziness, just from everywhere, not just the pandemic. But I will say, okay, first off, I'm one of those extreme. Don't worry, I'll try to keep the political talk as quickly as possible. I'm one of those people who are generally cynical about the state of the world, and I honestly know that there's practically challengers and villains on both sides. But it's kind of nice that it looks pretty much 95% that who is going to be booted out of the Oval Office. And I understand a lot of people voted for him due to financial concerns. But it's at the same time, it's like you'd have to be pretty blind to see just how insane things have gone under his administration. More so than usual. And it's like, what is it? So far, the polls are leaning in favor to Joe Biden. Joe Biden, even knowing he's 10 times better than Trump, I honestly think we could have done a lot better. It's like there are tons of better Democrats, and a lot of the problems that Obama's administration has will probably creep back up under Biden and Kamala Harris. But at the same time, I'll take some form of normalcy and sanity, semblance of sanity compared to what we've had to deal with the last 4 years. And it sucks too because I've tried so hard to deny the whole vote for the lesser evil or the enemy you want, but I'd rather be dealing with bureaucratic backstabbers who will back off once you catch them, as opposed to the mad orange blob in the White House. And not only that, but if you think I am 100% liberal, there are actually some things about conservative politics I do like the ability of smaller government, managing things within their region. Now, of course, if you need disaster relief, you need it from the higher courts. In the time of pandemic, yeah, you definitely need help from a big government, or but at the same time, little things like governmentship of different what is it? There was a lot of positive in favor for recreational. I'm saying that word wrong. Recreational drug use throughout the United States, as well as kind of get rid of a lot of the more harsher laws. And that's definitely a sign of good, individual state governments that can actually decide things that the main court may not allow. Sort of like how marijuana became more legal in the last couple of years. Unfortunately, the current administration, despite whining about them being more Republican than Republican, they really are a bunch of corporates. And worse still, they're under the control of one of the worst corporate people imaginable, who I think only ended up getting voted into the White House because, one, a lot of people were upset with Obama for both reasons understandable and reasons that are pretty damn insane. And don't worry, I'm gonna finish this rant soon. And also, unfortunately, because he had a media presence thanks to that terrible TV show Trump was a part of. God, what was it called? The Biggest Loser? No, The Apprentice. So I think a lot of people just assumed he was going to be like a good captain of industry, and sadly, captains of industry is sort of a urban myth, despite how good somebody actually runs their company, or at least manages the company and allows a lot of good workers in. But no, I was going to get to the point that had this administration been really Republican and allowed states to kind of govern their small areas, as opposed, and I don't mean like, oh, you're on your own, we're not going to help you with testing and all this. No, I mean allow them to, mandate certain aspects of their different states. Net neutrality would not have been so thoroughly beaten the way it was these last 4 years, because there was a lot of red states that were looking for ways to kind of govern their own net neutrality laws, and those got ruined by that that big-nosed idiot who runs the FCC, Prajar, whatever his name, the one who assumes people who want at least a good safety net of having affordable internet to free internet are members of an insane cult. But that's like the equivalent. It's like, hey, do you want basic water to drink? Well, then you're a part of a psychotic religion, you bastard. It's like, that's clearly the kind of strong arming a bully would do. But with that says, I had a very, this is the last leg of the political talk. I am generally kind of happy that things are going the way it is, and that even a lot of Republicans and Democrats alike, and even the mainstream media, who are usually, they'll gladly eat up whatever Donald Trump says for ratings or, try to approval and whatnot, but the ship's sinking and nobody wants to help the captain, basically. It's like, what is it? When this whole nonsense happened back in 2016, they wouldn't show any footage of Bernie Sanders talking. Yes, I like Bernie Sanders, even knowing I'm disappointed in him for not fighting harder than he should have, not just against Republicans, but also against his fellow Democrats. That's a whole other rant. But yeah, it's like the mainstream media spent no time covering Bernie Sanders' campaign to try to become a Democratic candidate for presidency. Yet they spent like an entire hour looking at an empty podium for Donald Trump to show up because, hey, Donald Trump's wackiness gets some ratings. And now cut to 4 years later, when you have even Fox News having to correct what he's saying in his final speech recently, and that even other stations like NBC and ABC had to cut off or at least interrupt in the middle of the thing. So it really shows you, I think everyone's getting sick and tired. And my friend Jesse, who I co-host Reveal Monsters with, he brought up a good point that, oddly enough, Donald Trump does not have any true political allies. He has a handful, not a handful, but a relatively small army of yes men. And also probably some, and of course his more insane far-right supporters. Although hopefully it's not as insane as, I don't know, it's still scary. It's still a long ways to go to January 21st. And also, knowing our luck, it's like, I think maybe all of a sudden all the polling places will catch on fire, not because of domestic right-wing terrorists, or the Democrats deciding to bend over and let Donald Trump win anyways, but because meteors from the sky appear and individually hit every voting center, because why not? Because it's 2020. But basically, yeah, Donald Trump has no political allies. He's basically made enemies with a lot of people, not just liberals and Democrats, but a lot of corporates and Republicans within the Senate and throughout Congress and the United States. The donor class is generally angry with him because despite the Southern strategy and the donors believing themselves to be better than anybody else, they need the machine running, and they will do anything to keep it running, and the way things got handled is pretty terrible. Now, will Joe Biden do any better? Yes, just because in comparison to Donald Trump, but again, there's a lot we need to fight and a lot we need to be vigilant for. And I'm not talking about, revenge for the lost Donald Trump presidency. No, I mean just like basic rights, like, the healthcare issue and the environment. It's like, yeah, the world, it's like, for crying out loud, there's a lot of basic rights we American citizens deserve. And that also includes Social Security. That's like, Social Security is basically the trade-off that the corporations and the governments have for you for all the work you've given to them. It's like, if you make a certain amount for them by work and all that, you have some kind of social financial safety net later on. So to get rid of that is the equivalent of, it's like, oh, we're going to blow up your house and you're going to have to live outside. That's just the way it is. So, but I don't want to get into too much of this political nonsense. It's not nonsense. It is much very, very important talk, but at the same time, it's like, we're here for fun stuff. We're here for silly monster nonsense. Juggler, if you have random monster questions, go ahead. I'll answer the next 5 you give. And to anybody else who's listening. But basically, I haven't felt this kind of happy in ages, and I can breathe a sigh of relief that we don't have to go through another 4 years of waking up every morning and it's like, he did what now? What's going on? What? Oh God. So again, Joe Biden isn't gonna instantly make everything better, and he's probably going to bring a lot of his own problems. But by comparison, we've already stayed at the hotel that was on fire. Let's see how the somewhat crummy 2-star hotel gives us. And we should still fight to make that hotel a 4-star hotel. And of course, the analogy is the hotel is America. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Again, I got so many awesome viewers. I have so many awesome fans. And even knowing that it's probably the coward's way out to be magnanimous and fair to everybody, a lot of people I know online and in person are, what if Birdemic was a kaiju movie? It would be terrible. Oh my god. All I can imagine is the birds would be huge, but they'd still be terribly CGI, and they probably wouldn't be big birds either. They would be just sort of like a poorly done CGI version of Night of the Lepus, except get rid of the beautifully shot rabbits running across model sets with terrible looking bird monsters no bigger than a car. So yeah, and it's sad too, because nobody makes good B movies anymore, and if they do, they get lost in the shovel. It's like, for every Big Ass Spider, which was a generally good movie that you can actually watch for free on Tubi. In fact, I will find the link for you guys to enjoy. If you've never seen Big Ass Spider, which is definitely one of the better Sci-Fi Channel giant monster movies in recent memory, I definitely highly recommend it, because the special effects are above average. It actually is a good horror action comedy, and it does it way better than, say, something like Eight-Legged Freaks. I like Eight-Legged Freaks, but compared to Big Ass Spider, is definitely the neater of the two films. But yeah, Big Ass Spider is actually a really good movie, and it's you can view it for free on Tubi, which I don't know, people seem to hate the Tubi network, and yes, I know they have a lot of commercial breaks, but it's a small price to pay to watch so many oddball movies. Although, according to this, please hold on. Okay, apparently you can't watch Big Ass Spider right now. I don't know if the network's down or it's just... Oh, okay, I see. Sometimes you have to set up an account in order to watch certain movies. So yeah, if you guys get a chance, try to check out Big Ass Spider. It's free on Tubi. If not, you might be able to find it elsewhere. But yeah, I think that's a much better example of how to do a modern day B movie than Birdemic or Sharknado. But yeah, for every big ass spider, you have multiple Sharknado sequels that nobody wants. So, oh, okay, I see what's going on. All right, all right. I have an ad blocker, and apparently, if your ad blocker is on, you can't access Tubi. So, okay, that's your first giant monster question. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've never seen Birdemic, but I've seen enough reviews from people like Obscura Lupa and the Cinema Snob, to know that yeah, I don't want to watch bad stuff. I'm one of those people who have that weird habit of wanting to watch good movies. Like it's like I can be I can be watching Rocky Horror Picture Show instead of oh god, I'm trying to think of a terrible American. I don't know. There's so many terrible movies out there these days. But I think but I don't know if it's just generally because the art of movie making has gotten worse, or that there's a lot less talented people there. And I think it's probably more of a situation of just maybe it's just way too many movies are being made and not many of them are under very competent hands. Although it might also be sort of it might be a different for every situation. Like what is it? A lot of B movie makers in the 1960s were able to create some pretty solid products, but then you get into the 70s where things became more expensive and harder to maintain and pay for, and then you end up with it's sort of like how Roger Corman had like made some really excellent movies throughout the 60s and throughout the 70s and the 80s. But then the 90s came along and it was just all direct to TV, direct to video shadows of the former glory that his New Line Pictures, American International used to have. And now today we got like big budget blockbusters who, despite being cut from the same mold as B movies, they're very unimaginative and nowhere near as neat. Like what is it? A lot of the I always say there's like back in the 60s you had all these incredibly imaginative filmmakers who were hampered by their lack of special effects abilities and budget. Now today you have the special effects abilities, you have the budget, but they're hampered by filmmakers who are not that imaginative. So, and speaking of which, that brings me to The Mandalorian, a show that I honestly enjoy. Yes, I know it's a terribly simplistic show. It's another one of those filthy Star Wars cash-ins because, Star Wars, it's everywhere. But at the same time, I think that show is very much born from the legacy of like many of the shows that Irwin Allen used to do. These big, bombastic, extremely colorful shows that weren't afraid to go into like weird places with different monsters of the week. Because it's like, let's face it, most science fiction shows wouldn't dare show an alien for two reasons. One, the audience might think it's silly, and secondly, for the more important reason, it probably because the creatures are too expensive to do. It's like how many primetime American shows with science fiction elements claim to have monsters in them, and the monsters were stuck in a human form for ages. It's not it's sometimes it's built to what is it? Not suspect suspect expectations. Subvert expectations. Sometimes it's done to do that, to subvert expectations, but for the most part it's done just to save money and because you're dealing with very unimaginative people. Like, what is it? That television show Grimm that lasted several seasons and had a very large fan base. It was kind of sad how you never saw a fairy tale creature at all, other than these really terrible CGI graphs on the people's faces only showed up for a couple of minutes. It's like, granted, I've seen the opposite. There was this one terrible show that was made shortly after the success of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I forgot what it was called, but I don't know. It was basically somewhere in the same round as Investigators of Paranormal, but they were very well aware of the weird creatures that lived among them. But it was just so poorly acted, and the special effects were so terrible. It was like it was to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Angel was was Power Rangers to Space to Power Rangers Super Mega Force. That's how they seem to be of the same cloth, but they ultimately are not. So I guess you could say the same about a lot of the shows that were made, that spun off or were made around the time of Hercules and Xena. Hercules and Xena's are definitely not the best shows in the world. In fact, they're pretty campy and silly. But for what they were pretty well done for what they were. But then you compare it to like maybe some of the many lesser shows that were made around the same time. Some of them were good, some of them were not. But let me see what this terrible program I'm trying to think of. United States. Oh, okay, it's alphabetically ordered, so. And they practically count everything. So yeah, this ain't gonna happen. Oh yeah, the Beastmaster show from 1999 to 2002. That wasn't half bad, or at least from the few episodes I saw. Bewitched, Big Wolf on Campus, Black Star, Blood Ties. Right, Charmed. Oh yeah, Charmed was another one that was made in the success of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The version that lasted from 1998 to 2006, but that was just terribly done. And I've only seen like one or two episodes from that series. And more to the point, Obscura Lupa has done an entire series based on just how bad that series gets. But Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, okay, Dream World. I should have gotten a bottle of water. I'm suffering here. Well, I can't find this show. Maybe I scroll down. Maybe it is something like Paranormal Investigators or some bullshit like that. Pushing Daisies, regular show, Roar was. Oh right, that was like a big budget fantasy show on NBC that didn't go anywhere. So memories of failures that television left behind. Funny, fuzzy, poorly doing in the ratings. Memories like the storyteller. It was divine, but didn't do well. Okay. I can't find this stupid. I know it was on UPN. I know it was about a pair of overly slick investigators, like, discovering all these various monsters and whatnot, but it was terrible. That's all I know. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying The Mandalorian, even though it seems that there's been a huge backlash against it lately. I guess because everyone keeps insisting it's a show that's keep going on side quests instead of the main journey of the Mandalorian trying to find more of his own kind to help Baby Yoda, or the child, we should say, find their way back to whatever homeworld that little puppet guy came from. But you know what? I've seen enough primetime American television shows to know that, yeah, a side quest, it's like, what is it? A television, you can take side quests. You can try to take your time to, enjoy the journey before you get to the destination. We have an angry Mandalorian fan. It wasn't as good as Rogue One? No, Rogue One and The Mandalorian are two separate things. Oh, now you stop. Okay, you're gonna complain some more when I start talking? I have a Chihuahua, by the way, by the name of Nippo. So yeah, it's maybe as adorable as baby Yoda, but he's, oh god, he's horrible. He's utterly annoying. So, oh my goodness. But anyway, yeah, what was I talking about before? Hi, doggy. Oh my god. So, okay, so here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go get some liquid refreshments, quite a bit, because there's no way I can continue this conversation. I am literally dying of thirst right now. However, in the meantime, I'm going to play some music while I'm gone. Now, let me. You guys hear that, right? Oh my god. You want to scream some more, dog? Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is going to play some good old classical music. Because first off, it's public domain. And I know exactly what's the best piece ever made, if I can find it. I'm looking over one of my many musical playlists. If you visit my channel and check out my playlist, you'll find things like instrumental music, unofficial soundtracks based on some of my comic book story ideas. But yeah, I'm gonna let some music play as I go. I don't know if I'm gonna be playing the whole thing. Where are you? Uh-oh. Where is Holtz? We need some Holtz here, damn it. Oh wells. Mars, the Bringer of War. Yeah, I think we'll play that. It's a pretty long one, so I don't know if I'm going to... Oh yeah, Gustav Holst, The Planets, Mars, Bringer of War. A classical piece you've probably heard a million times. But yeah, I'm going to let this play while I go get some drink. So, alright. Goodbye, everybody. Okay, so I'm back, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Gustav Holst, for the musical interlude. You're welcome, Anselma. Oh my god, Gustav Holst, you're alive? No, Anselma, I've been dead since 1782. No! So I don't really know when Gustav Holst died. Let's check. Okay, let's bet how. I bet I was extremely off on how long he was alive. Hold on. Before I look at how what year Gustav died, do you want to throw in a bet in there, Jugless Juggler? Do you want to guess what year he died? 1920, 1940, 1882. Okay, I don't see any reply. So I'm going to reveal it right now. Hey, I was completely off. Apparently, he was born in 1874, and died in 1934. 1874, 1984. Oh, that is so creepy to die on a fourth year of a decade. Born on a fourth year of a decade, died on a fourth year of a decade. Okay, Gustav Theodor Holst, born Gustavus Theodor von Hoist, born September 21st, 1874, died May 25th, 1934, was an English composer, arranger, and teacher, best known for her orchestral suite The Planets. He composed many other works across the range of genres, although none achieved comparable success. God, I almost found myself reading the entire Wikipedia article. Ain't gonna do that again. But yeah, I was way off. He wasn't even born in 17 something or other. So yeah, and then when he was working, it was like turn of the century, 1920s. So of course that's why his music was so good. Like a lot of people wonder what was the foundations for a lot of modern day Hollywood music, and I think Gustav Holst was definitely the pioneer in that regard. He's similar to Gilbert and Sullivan in the sense that he took a classical art but gave it enough of a neo-modern twist that it endures a lot better than, say, like the really old classics. Yeah, Mozart and Beethoven has some wonderful works, but Gustav Holst has like it's the classical music you introduce to people who don't like classical music, unless you want to get into Gustav Holst died in 1934. Yeah, did you did you look that up before I asked you to make an educated guess? So, if so, you cheated if you looked that up. So, but yeah, I got my drinks again. I think that's what I'll do from now on. If I don't have anybody to talk to and I gotta go get something to drink, I'll just play some Gustav Holst because yeah, it's like it's all public domain. So far, I don't see a copyright strike, so I'm a-okay there. Although, yeah, it is kind of weird how the analytics just suddenly stopped right there. Oh, okay, we're still going. Okay, we're good. Okay, so I like The Mandalorian. It's very simplistic. I will agree with you that, but I don't think it's just a simple children's show with a bunch of puppets to entertain the kids. I do think that it's in its simplicity, it's able to succeed where other shows have failed. And yes, there are television shows I would be more than happy. And Shoma Reed's Wikipedia would be another neat idea for a series. Who wants to learn about the human body and its disgusting orifices? Sorry about that. I'm taking a quick drink break. Lemonade. I also have some regular water with me, so in fact, let's have a little bit of regular water too. Ah. You hear that? That's water. See, this is much different than my live stream of consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. And it's 1:02 a.m. where I'm at. I'm in Los Angeles. If I wanted to go get a celebratory late night burger from the In-N-Out across the street, I would. But that ain't gonna happen because I'd rather be here sticking around with you fine folks, or fine folk in this regard. And then that's basically it at the moment. But yeah, let me see what kind of artwork I can share with you. I'm using OBS. So, oh wait a minute, why not? I'll put her up for the time being. You already saw a photo of Madame Woe, the original costume. So this is, no, I don't want to do that. So this is an illustration of Madame Woe I did, or should I say a portrait, a part of a series called the Kaiju Portraits. I know there's a bit of a hypocrisy for me using the dreaded slang word kaiju when I should have said giant monster portrait. But, I hate to say it, sometimes slang does roll off the tongue a lot better. The tongue a lot better. And kaiju portraits just sound like a better word. In fact, let me give you a link to my DeviantArt website, particularly the gallery with all the kaiju portraits in them. Where is the gallery? There's the gallery of Raph and Shoma. Click kaiju portraits. Now, basically, the series basically says what it is. It's just portraits of various giant monsters with a simplistic black background. And because Madame Woe is technically a giant monster, although I'll get into more detail in her episode proper when I finish in Shoma Likes Giant Monsters episode 1. What was I going to say? I completely forgot what I was going to say. I'm a little tired now, so I don't think we'll be last over another half an hour. It's like, I'm definitely going to stop this around 2 a.m. Yeah, she's technically a giant monster. I put giant monsters against a black background just for simplicity's sake. But this particular illustration was a lot of fun to draw. I had to kind of fix her up a lot to get the asymmetrical evenness for her eyes and possibly the ponytails in post, because the original inks were a little off. That's the unfortunate thing about, trying to get a costume looking great with the mask. But yeah, I followed the original costume as much as possible with the details and everything. I think I did fairly well, with possibly the exception of... Oh, Lord. With the exception of her bust area. Like, first off, the little armored breastplate that she's wearing there is supposed to be much more metallic and shiny. I guess I didn't have very good reference, because it just looks like it's just made out of like regular plastic or something. And although she does have a bit of phantom cleavage, I think I may have gone overboard at trying to damn it! I like girls. Ugh. That's why you're never going to see like an illustration commentary for like some of my more saucier characters, especially the ones on the websites I'm not going to share tonight. Professionalism? What's that? It just went out the window. Come back, professionalism.
No, you'll have to catch me because I'm drawing naked mermaids.
Damn you, professionalism. Damn you. So, you're all welcome to take that and do a mixtape later, or a remix if you want. So, but yeah, the idea behind the kaiju portraits is I take a giant monster, I draw it as accurately as I can with the skills I got, and I put it against a black background. And as you can see, oh, that's right, I was going to share the gallery that had all the kaiju portraits in them. Sometimes the kaiju portraits will not follow the same series. Like sometimes they'll throw in a colored background or something. If you click on there now, you'll notice a couple of Mirror Man monsters that have like regular backgrounds. But basically, yeah, any like upper body torso that counts as a giant monster portrait is in this gallery, but not a part of the true kaiju portrait series, which would be just the giant monsters themselves against a black background. Okay. Sorry about that. A little bit of burps. So, yeah, so there's Madame Woe. Feast your eyes, boys, because she will be going away pretty soon. Let me see who else I got to share as far as artwork goes. Because I was doing a lot of artwork earlier today. I just don't know if it's the kind of artwork I can share with Mama and Daddy. So, you fine folks. So, oh, let's get a little silly. Okay, so I don't know. I was just kind of doodling on a paintbrush or bitmap with my Windows 7 here, and I decided to take care of good old King Kong, which I might incorporate into the first episode of Inshoma Reviews All Monsters. Hold on. Center to screen. Okay, there we go. Goodbye, Madame Woe. Hello, poorly rendered King Kong. There he is, and it's not any King Kong, it's legendary King Kong. Hence his brown fur and the bright golden brownish eyes. I tried to put a little green in there, but it didn't really work out too well. Although now seeing it on the television screen, it looks good, because I got the television screen connected to my Roku and the YouTube right now, it's a little too kind of more goldish brown on the TV itself. But yeah, that's supposed to be legendary King Kong, done in a deliberately silly and crummy way. So, all right, Jugless Juggler. What if Beavis and Butthead were kaiju? Jugless Juggler, come on, man. No, it's no. Okay, I'm not. I will not dignify that. You have better questions in there, man. It's like I have a question for you. Are there any like what lesser known Ultraman monsters you'd like to see come back? So any series, I don't care if it's like one of the giant barely seen bees from Ultra Q. Like what monster deserves a shake for a second time? Okay, but yeah, let me. That's another thing I'm gonna have to consider doing is getting a screen sharing program, so I can actually do artwork and you guys can just join in. The only unfortunate thing is, sometimes that works with music. I don't know if I can talk and do artwork at the same time without it, taking forever to do. So, that's next to do. Let us open the big folder of artwork featuring all stuff by Mr. Gonzalez. That's me, Raph and Shoma. Do. All that going on while a happy monkey is, it looks like I could easily put 2 ice cream cones in his hands, and he's like, yeah, look what I got. Yeah. So, I'm also supposed to be doing there's also supposed to be a radio play that's supposed to be coming in later this month, edited by my friend Brayton Connor, and based on some of the characters we introduced in The Adventures of Waffle Man. That cinematic failure. It's known as the Glue Podcast. I'll give you guys a very, very quick sneak peek. It's going to be fairly simplistic, all things considering. But yeah, it's basically what happens if a group of really crummy supervillains got together and made a podcast, and everything that could go wrong kind of goes wrong, but not completely. And these are our 4 main players. This is the main title card that shows up throughout the whole thing, because it's still images that change with corresponding sound. But I don't want to share that for too long. Brayton is adding a lot of really cool bells and whistles to it, but at the same time it is taking a little long. So much so that I honestly hope we get it done before Thanksgiving. But in Shoma Reviews Giant Monsters, you'll be getting that way sooner. And that is definitely a series I can just whip up in no time. So, this last week was pretty hectic because of Halloween and the holidays. So, bleh, holidays. Like, I like Halloween, but seriously, there's like better things I could be doing with my time than worrying about decorations and whatnot. Oh, and of course, if you guys haven't seen this before, if you go back to my channel, know that we did do a live watch for the Monster Party about a week before Halloween. That's the incredibly simplistic title card I did for it. I just took a screenshot from Monster Squad and then put some really nice German style font over it. But yeah, definitely check that out my YouTube channel. Just click on my name, go to the videos, and boom, you might see it. To be honest with you, I don't think we did too good of a job with the Monster Squad live commentary. There was a lot of nice banter before and after the movie, but as far as the movie went, I didn't bother to do any real research, and I know that one of the people joining us that just came to despise the movie like you would not believe. Oh, Jugless Juggler. I want to see Goro from Ultra Q come back. That would be very interesting to see Goro return. Because I don't think Ultraman has done a giant gorilla monster since Ultraman Dyna, and that was like back in 1998, I believe. So hold on, I'm going to take a drink. God, my throat is parched. Oh, that's the stuff. Oh, thank the lemonade goddess. There we go. Body movements, the show. Okay. Yeah, no, Goro would be a really neat monster to take care of. So, okay. Looks like nobody's online. Everyone's either asleep. Okay, so let me see what else we can do. Oh, speaking of giant gorilla monsters from Ultra Q, M1, that weird artificial life form gorilla creature, who's also from Ultra Q, he is coming back to Ultraman Z next week, and he's going to go giant size officially too. So, it's kind of a nice. I guess that's kind of a nice trade-off. So, but we'll see. I'm enjoying Ultraman Z, but you really can tell it's kind of an unfocused show right now, and that's probably largely because its lead writer unfortunately died fairly early into the production of the show. And whenever a lead writer dies in a Japanese TV series, or gets replaced, the show itself he was working on immediately goes downhill. And I don't know why. It's similar to the terrible writing practices you see in American comic books, where nobody is supposed to be sharing ideas amongst each other as creative studios so they know who's doing what. It's like, why is Wonder Woman doing this all of a sudden when it's, supposed to be connected to this book here and nothing makes sense. That's why when you read trade paperbacks featuring these event comics, every issue that's separate from each other through different series just feels so off and disconnected. So, hey, guess what? Lemonade break. Jessica's Juggler, you have too much fun hanging around. I'm just a little all by myself, huh? Okay. Yeah, I am definitely not going to continue this before too long. So, bum. Oh, right. Let's see. Yeah, and there is no way I can do artwork. This is how terrible my multitasking abilities are. But let me see if there is any other images I can share with you guys. Okay. Oh wow, there's really nothing here. Oh, that's a shame. Dead air. Yeah, might as well share this sketch. This is another work in progress for what I hope to be a kaiju portrait before the end of the year. And I decided to base it on another Power Ranger monster that I like quite a bit. Hold on. Center to screen. Oh, wait. Don't want to do that. I want to fit to screen. Alright. It's a sketch of Shell Shock, a turtle monster with a traffic light growing out of the top of his body. Yeah, he was obviously created by the two comical villains, Squad and Babu. And yet he put up a pretty good fight, and the character had a pretty nice enough... He had an affable enough personality, so... And I was able to copy an actual pose he does in the episode, but I liked it because it looks like he's, just like he's posing for like a men's magazine. So it's like, hello, you want to learn how to have salamella and pick up chicks? Well, you can with me, Shell Shock, aka Dora Tortoise. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to digitally inking and coloring that one. So yeah, so there's a lot of fun monsters from Power Rangers. So, and my throat almost gave way. So okay, since I am definitely gonna call this quits after half an hour because I can't talk any longer. Juggler. These Night Alien streams make for great ASMR. I could ask you what that means, but we have the wonders of the internet. And ASMR means Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. How do you... Wait a minute. How do you say that middle... Hold on. Sometimes autosensory meridian response is a tingling situation that typically begins in the scalp and moves down the back of the neck, upper spine, pleasant from the form of... What is this? An orgasm? But it... Oh yeah, that's right. I don't have any meaning. What is the definition of mere? Circle of constant longitude passing through a given place on the Earth's surface to the terrestrial poles. Yeah, they're talking about human beings, not this. Relating to or situated to, I guess that means meditate or something. Vital energy. Oh yeah, it's sort of like a form of relaxation, isn't it? Really? You find my voice relaxing? You don't find it annoying and high-pitched in any regards? You don't find it weird? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, you probably have some sleeping folks in the next room or something. You don't want to be hearing that in like 3 a.m. in the morning, wherever you're at. Yeah. Okay, I can also hear myself coming out from the TV. Which is weird because I have headphones on and the TV's only on 1%. And yet there you go. So what a weird time to be alive. Okay, so let me go back to OBS and see what else I can share. Because I think that's as far as artwork goes, and I can't really share anything. Can't really share anything work in progress, so forget about all the clicks. There's no way I can like mute my phone without you guys hearing the mouse. I was trying to do a mouse. Didn't work out. I blame Maggie the cat. Huh. I think that's it as far as artwork's concerned. Oakley dokley. Oh, wait. Okay, I know what I can share. Another project I did recently was with my friend Kaiju Noir on his channel. On Halloween night, he did Kaiju Noir's 6th annual Halloween live stream. And even though not a single person on the live stream took alcohol, we pretty much acted and felt like it, especially with lack of a proper opening theme song. Lemonade break. Water break. Throw the plastic bottle against something. There you go. But yeah, that's the title card I did for Kaiju Noir's 6th annual Halloween live stream. And it's basically his character, Draco Azul, but taking on the form of Chernobog, the god of bad luck and nighttime from certain ancient mythologies. Although often American audiences just mistake him for a giant devil, which isn't the case. But then again, they animated him pretty devilishly, so I can see where the confusion comes from. It is kind of sad how, in American culture, we just assume anything foreign is instantly bizarre and horrifying, or hellish for that regards. Like, consider Greek mythology. They had a pretty positive outlook at death and the underworld. In fact, the underworld was just multiple levels of where people were supposed to go. The upper levels for all the good people who deserve better in life. Basically ancient Greek heaven. And then the lower levels, which is sometimes referred to as Tartarus, that's the scary place where you send all the bad people to go. Unfortunately, in like our sort of modern day Catholic-minded society, we just assume that the Greek underworld is just a hellish existence, period. Which is really unfair, because the guy who ran at Hades was a much nicer person than people gave him credit for. And sadly, there are no nice versions of Hades, for all I know. Even the Percy Jackson movies kind of screw it up, because in the books, Hades is supposed to be he's intimidating, but he's fair and kind in his own way. So it is just generally sad that, they decided to kind of just bring in Steve. I like Steve Coogan, but he definitely kind of screwed over what Hades is supposed to be, unfortunately. Actually, he didn't screw anybody over. It was a terrible production company that did it. Was it 20th Century Fox? I bet it was 20th Century Fox. Those bastards. No wonder Disney bought them and practically buried them under the ground. Mismanaged every alien movie possible. I don't even like the alien movies, to be honest with you. Blah. So, but yeah, let me get out of Draco Azul. He looks good on the big screen, by the way. I don't know, everything pops better on the computer, but on the television screen, it looks okay, but it could be a lot better. So, in fact, I might be tempted to go back and Hold on, hold on. Okay, yes, yes, I do, Juggler Struggler. Yes, yes, I do find your voice somewhat relaxing. It's 4 in the morning where I'm at. Why are you always awake when I'm doing this stuff? And Shoma's bedtime stories would be yet another neat idea for a series. That'd be interesting. I could, just ramble on some of the weird short story ideas I have. Okay, Juggler's Juggler. If you if you want to start asking some final questions, go ahead. Now's the time to do it. So I'll take at least 3 before I kind of start closing things down for the night. But yeah, it's like. Anyways, Chernobog traditionally isn't some sort of giant demon. He's just kind of a knightly god of bad luck and misfortune. He's not pure evil, but he's definitely not safe to be around whatsoever. Of course, when they beautifully animated him for Fantasia, that point easily gets lost on like a regular American viewer. So especially if they're like more Catholic minded than they are aware of uh, mythology, especially the European mythology in which Chernobog came from. So in a sense, it's not Draco Azul as the Disney Devil. It's Draco Azul as just a big old European pagan god monster. So it's all varying similitudes. Okay. All right, and I think I'll delete some of these other pictures, the ones that we'll not be using anymore. Yes. Okay, then. Let me see what Juggler's Juggler has to share. Oh, I have an idea for a Power Ranger monster, a vampire nuke whose superpower is that he also has fart nukes, okay, and has a spoon-shaped staff as a weapon. He is also voiced by Tommy Wiseau. Oh, it's one of your little millennial jokes. Okay, well, you just... No offense, but it's like... Well, first off, there really is no fart humor going on Power Rangers. Mine are only recent seasons. So to not do fart humor in almost over 20 years worth of television shows, that's impressive. But no, I'm sorry, Juggler's Juggler. I really, really kind of don't care about all these bad cult movies everybody watches in Birdemic and The Room. So forgive me if I'm not even going to really answer this. So, with that says, though, I am definitely struggling. I'm much more tired than I imagined. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to end this live stream pretty soon and basically call it a night. I am going to play one last song to leave us out, and I think I know exactly what that song may be. So, the original theme song for Night Owling within Shoma was fair enough. Thank you, Juggler Struggler, for understanding. So, but yeah, I'm getting a little sick and tired of all this love that The Room and Birdemic and all these other terrible movies get. So, but anyways, yeah, I know exactly what we're gonna end the night with. The original theme song for Night Owling within Shoma was the theme music to a 1979 supernatural science fiction thriller called Stradilum, or The Visitor. Stradilum. I don't know. I just know it better as The Visitor from 1979. And it's a pretty insane movie for what it is. And it, too, is available for free on Tubi, if you guys want to check that out. Although I'm not going to share the link right now. But yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We will end the night and just play the ending, the main theme to The Visitor from 1979. So, thank you for joining me. I don't know how enjoyable this is going to be for anybody visiting post after the mark. But yeah, I can't keep this up anymore. I'm going to take a little bit of rest. And I'll try to catch you guys later. And next time I do a night owling, I'll be sure to do it when I'm fully awake. And probably maybe even get a guest here. But for the most part, this is where I just ramble on about whatever I want to ramble on at the time being. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Good night, everybody. Or good night to all watching now and to all who will be watching later.